Hey, good evening, everybody. Peter Vexelman here. As you could see, I like to say I'm in my new studio. I'm actually in my same room that I do all these in, but with new equipment. So, the one of the things I always tell people, it's time to level up, right? It's time to level up in whatever you're doing, whether you're leveling up in the real estate business, whether you're leveling up from a health perspective. Well, guess what? This is my way of showing you I'm leveling up from a recording perspective. Now, I will tell you, for those of you that listen to me on every Tuesday, this is a little uncomfortable for me. And I'll be honest with you, like if you listen to me, I'm always moving around. I'm walking and talking. I'm not gonna be able to do that today. If I am gonna do that today, then right away somebody needs to give me a signal. Hey, get back. Um, so anyway, guys, welcome. We're going to give it a couple minutes. It's right at 7:00. We're going to give a couple minutes for people to log on. If you don't mind sharing with me and the team here where you are logging in from, I guess where you're zooming in from. I got some good stuff for you guys today. I'm going to talk to you about how to get a competitive advantage. One of the things that you need, that I believe in any facet of life, if you're going to compete at the kind of level that you really want to excel in, is you need to learn how to find competitive advantages. So like I said, I'm going to give a couple more minutes before we get started, but I am going to talk to you specifically about how to gain a competitive advantage, specifically as it relates to real estate. I'm going to build the case tonight that if you're just an everyday investor doing everyday things that everyday investors do, it is very difficult, if not impossible, to be successful in this business. That's just the environment we're in. That's the climate we're in. So that's what we're going to talk about today, the advantage of an advantage. Okay. But until we do get started here, again, my name is Peter Vexelman. Those of you that are like, well, that's weird, I've never seen him set up like this. That's because this is literally the first time I have been set up like this. At worst, I guess, I don't know if the good word is at worst, but sometimes I'll get mic'd up. Sometimes we'll do these from the outside and it's hard to hear. So we'll bring a, lapel mic, but I am leveling up. I am gaining an advantage in the environment that I do this in. So again, welcome everybody. It's Tuesday night. If you don't mind, as you guys are dialing in, or I guess when no one dials in, everybody zooms in. Let me know where you're dialing in from or zooming in from. I think at this point, we pretty much have people from all walks of life, definitely from every geographical location. Pretty sure we hit all 50 states. And that is exciting for us. This is the one thing, if you've been following me at all, whether it's on social media or through this, the one thing that I have consistently here at Partner Driven done is these Tuesday night recordings. Literally from some years ago when we switched over to a partner-driven model, this is the one thing that I have consistently committed to, because I realized so many of our partners come in through the gates of Tuesday night. So many people that check us out come in through or check us out through the gates of Tuesday night. And so to me and to everybody here at Partner Driven, these Tuesday nights are very, very important. I'm going to take another minute or so. I'll wait for everybody to zoom in again. As you guys are zooming in, if you don't mind sharing. It's funny, I ask if you don't mind sharing where you're zooming in from, because I'm so far away I can't see and I can't hit the chat button. So I guess I'm just so used to saying certain things that I'll have to figure out different ways of being able to check chats and to answer questions that may come in. I'm sure there's technology for everything. So again, welcome, guys. My name is Peter Vexelman, partner-driven real estate investing. And tonight I'm going to share with you the importance of having advantages, meaning if you want to do something, and I don't care what it is, obviously we're here real estate focused, and I am going to stay very real estate focused tonight. But I could tell you the days of just working hard, outworking your competition, being smarter than the next guy, I think those days are gone. They're gone by the wayside. We live in the world of technology, information age, worldwide contacts, worldwide access. So you're not going to be smarter than the computer. You're not going to be faster than the technology. So the days of doing things the way many of us have been brought up. Hey, you just got to outwork your competition. You just got to outthink them. You got to, outmaneuver them. I truly believe those days are gone. All right. Having said that, if you guys don't mind, I want to do a quick I'm going to do a quick and a brief introduction. Again, my name is Peter Vexelman with Partner Driven Real Estate Investing. And what I am by trade, I haven't used that word in a long time, is I am a real estate investor. I've been at this thing for many, many years, over 2 decades now. You know, it's so weird. I used to look at people my age. Literally, I used to look at people my age and say, wow, that's an old person. And then, you know, you get to be that age. And so what I realized is old is somebody that's older than you, right? That's what old is. But I've been at this thing for over 2 decades. I've done real estate all kinds of ways. I've done it the right way. I've done it the wrong way. I've done it in ways where I've made a lot of money. I've done it in ways where I've literally fallen off financial cliffs. But the one thing that I'm very proud about is that, you know, 22, 23 years in the business is that I'm still standing. And I'm standing within a model that that is a very unique model. And this is why I think the topic of tonight is so relevant, because I practice this. I practice what I preach. You know, I tell people any longer, you have to be successful, you have to have advantages. You can't do things the old-fashioned ways. You can't be just average. And I will tell you, the partner-driven model has taken a life on of its own. Our mission, partner-driven, has changed from when we started. But when we started the partner-driven model some years back, we started it for exact same reason that I'm going to share with you tonight in terms of how to get competitive advantages. I started initially the partner-driven model because that gave me an advantage in a marketplace. Okay. It literally gave me an advantage. And what the partner-driven model has become is this. Basically, we partner with everyday people across the United States, and we help them close real estate investment deals by providing what are known as pillars of success when it comes to real estate investing. And I want to get into that here in a second, what these pillars are. But again, I want to take a step back and let you know that when I did start this thing, I started it from a perspective of not just helping people do real estate deals. I started it as an advantage for me personally, for me to do more deals. You know, I was trying to figure out how do I do deals across the United States? Because make no mistake about it, no matter what you hear on the tapes, books, seminars, real estate is still a very local business. You know, a lot of times, or sometimes you'll hear some gurus talk and they'll say, oh, we're doing everything, you know, across the world. And I'm just sitting here in my easy chair. And I could tell you, those stories are few and far in between. Do they happen? Yeah, I got a very good friend that does that very, very successfully out of Texas. His name is Nick, and he actually lives out of Florida. His operation is out of Texas, and they literally do things across the United States virtually. But, you know, you take a guy like Nick, and he's very, very, very unusual as far as an investor. And so I was trying to figure out many years ago, how do I actually do things across the nation? Because when you open up your playing field, what that does is it gives you a lot more room, to succeed, right? Because you have more deals to look at. You know, when you're doing everything out of your, let's say, hometown, you're limited. You're limited by the geography, limited by the boundaries. And so I was like, okay, I want to open the whole United States up to do deals. Again, that gave me an advantage because it gives me a lot more inventory to choose from. Gave me some other advantages, but it gave me a huge, huge disadvantage. I didn't have local presence anywhere. You know, I had some local presence. I take that back. I had presence in when I switched over to a partner-driven model, about 17 markets. Back then, we had presence in about 17 local markets. But I was saying, you know, I don't want to be even limited by those 17 markets. So this whole concept of the partner-driven model came about is because, well, why don't we find people in different markets across the United States? Why don't we not even limit how many markets? The responsibility of the local partner will be to be exactly that, the local person, the boots on the ground. And then our responsibility at partner-driven would be to help them find, identify, secure, negotiate, put deals together, provide the capital, close on them, and split the profits. And if you think about it, when you describe this model, especially when I describe it now, and when people look at us now, it's like, wow, yeah, that's common sense. But I'll also tell you that when we got started with this model some years back, it was an absolute disaster. that, we seem to have all the pieces in place. We had our piece from knowledge perspective, infrastructure perspective, experience, money wise. We had the boots on the ground. They were running around doing what, boots on the ground supposedly needed to do. And I could tell you the first year of the partner driven model was an absolute disaster. I know I easily lost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars because we didn't have the right controls in place. We had the right pieces in place, but we didn't have the right controls in place. But we knew we were onto something. We knew we had a competitive advantage. We knew we had a very unusual model. We knew no one else was doing this. That was very good. When no one else does what you're doing, it gives you more time to succeed. When you get into an industry or a playing field where there's 6,000 other people in it, you can get knocked out like that, right? It's like being in a boxing ring. If you're in there with 20 boxers, you're going to get hit in that head pretty quickly. If you're in a boxing ring with just one boxer, you're going to be able to, if you want to, hopefully at least dodge and weave for a little bit longer. So, because we were the only ones doing this at the level we were doing it at, we had an advantage again. So even though I lost a ton of money in the beginning stage of the partner driven model, we never gave up on the model because we knew it made sense. So then what we did is we spend the next amount of time, year or two, putting all the checks and balances in place. How do we actually work with the local partner? How do we actually support them? How do we check for mistakes? How do we check for things that could go wrong? How do we check when things are right and do more of them? And so it took us a little tinkering, and here we are a number of years later, and now the partner-driven model is literally running on all cylinders. And we really are. I mean, do we still make mistakes? Yeah, absolutely. Do sometimes deals don't come together? 100%. Do issues come up? Oh boy, do they come up. But having said that, I would say at this point, if we were to do this in a baseball analogy, we are literally hitting it out of the ballpark. And so the partner-driven model, again, we enable everyday people to do real estate deals, to do real estate investment deals, and we provide those what I call pillars of success. The first thing is we're adamant. And by the way, I'm going to tell you this, as I describe the partner-driven model, you're going to see, because today I'm talking about advantages, and I'm going to talk about that you really need to have an advantage if you're going to be successful in any walks in life. But you really need to have an advantage if you're going to be successful in real estate. But these pillars of success that we provide to our partners, in essence, those are the advantages for our partners. Number one, coaching and mentoring, real estate. And, whether you're listening tonight or in a recorded fashion, and this is the first time you're checking real estate business out, or whether, you've got a bunch of deals behind you, or whether you've studied a bunch, the one thing I think we could all agree on, this is not a business that you want to experiment with. This is not a business that you want to get in and learn off the hip. Ask me how I know. I did it. Is it possible to do it? Yes, 100% totally possible. Make no mistake about it. You literally can get in this business from day one, have no education, and you could literally learn as you go. 100%. And I will also tell you 100%, it'll cost you. It'll absolutely cost you. It'll cost you time. It'll cost you money. It'll cost you headaches. It'll cost you stress. It'll cost you. And the only people that have been, at least that I've seen, that have been able to persevere from like zero to certain levels were people like me who actually brought something to the table. Like I brought about $500,000 to the table. Okay. So what did that do? They gave me some time, right? Well, back then it gave me just enough time to kind of hang myself because I lost all of it. So again, going back to reality, you got to know what you're doing in this business. And so we actually over train, we over deliver, we over coach. I don't know if that's even possible, but we do it. We have so much information available to our partners. We have so much accessibility available to our partners. So that's number one pillar of success that we provide to our partners, is on the coaching and mentoring side. The second pillar of success that we provide to our partners is from a lead gen perspective. And again, lead gen is critical in this business. Make no mistake about it. If you do not understand the concept of finding deals, lead generation, you're, again, dead in the water. It's like doing this blind. Well, the same thing with the on the lead gen side. We believe in lead gen so much here that we actually have a CRM system, a proprietary CRM system we put together for our partners that allows them to find and close on deals. And the interesting thing about it, and I think I might have erased it already, is that um, oh, I already erased it, but I just got a text a couple hours ago from one of my team members that somebody, one of our partners, his name is Jamari, used our CRM system to find a deal in their marketplace, and we're closing on it tomorrow. So our systems literally generate leads for our partners. That's huge, huge, huge advantage. Um, we provide back office support for our partners. You know, if you're in real estate and you don't have back office set up, you're going to be in trouble. But you need back office to process files, to move deals forward, to coordinate buyers, to coordinate sellers. All that is very, very important. And so we provide all that to our partners. I provide 100% of the capital. I don't have to spend too much time discussing the importance of that, but that is absolutely critical when it comes to being successful. Because make no mistake about it, the days of no money down deals, they're getting few and far in between. You know, unless you totally veer off the sphere and go into like the creative stuff and all this, even short-term deals, like wholesale deals, any longer require capital. We put these properties in the market, sell them, split the profits down the middle, 50-50. And that right there is the partner-driven model. That is the partner-driven experience. So tonight, for those of you that are partners, I'm glad you guys are here. I'm going to talk about an advantage that everyone needs to have and how to gain that competitive advantage. On the other hand, there's some of you all here tonight that are not partners, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Also, I could tell you, although I love doing this from a perspective of teaching and educating and all this, I could tell you, if you're not a partner, we'd love for you to become a partner, because this business is more than just education and training, which I'm going to do a little bit here tonight. There's businesses a lot more. It's like I said, lead gen, it's access to capital, access to construction, all of that. And that's what we put together. So if you're not a partner here tonight and you're going to be ready to join, there's going to be a phone number that somebody will put up in chat. But again, because of my new system here, I can't even see where that chat is. But somebody will put a phone number in there. We have some team members on standby, and they can get you rolling as early as tonight. And as early as tomorrow, we could start getting you onboarded and be on our way to putting some real estate deals together. All right, so let's talk about it. What I wanted to talk to you guys about today is advantage and having competitive advantage. See, my argument is this: any longer, okay, let's take it back. Like I'm, in my 50s. And as I was growing up, the mantra with my parents, with my school, with my friends, with the community, with the society was always the same. You got to work hard. You got to study a lot. You have to outperform your competition. You have to outstudy them. You have to this, you have to do this. And I could tell you before, because we were in a very even playing field. And what I mean by that, the playing field used to be a lot more even than it is now. Because back then it really was. It was like me against you, against you, against you. We're no longer in that world. We're no longer in that environment. We're in a world where this takes precedence, right? Like this is what? Information. So now you're no longer just I'm no longer just competing against him and I got to outwork him. I'm now competing against stuff like this. I can't outwork a technology, right? I can't outwork quick access to information, quick calculations, quick results. Okay. I can't beat technology. I can't beat the fact that now it's a worldwide playing field. I can't beat that now, whereas before I would be going to look at a real estate deal. And literally, when I started a couple decades ago, it was absolutely possible for me to look at a real estate property that was listed, and the realtor would tell me, this thing has been listed for like 3 days, a week, and Pete, you're the only one who's seen it. I could tell you those days are gone, right? Those days are gone, because when something, let's say, gets listed, when somebody wants to sell something, Boom. All you do is you click a button, you post it somewhere. You could post it on Facebook. You can go through MLS. You can go through Zillow. And all of a sudden, boom, the whole world has access to it. So you got to have an advantage. You have to figure out how to have advantages in life to any longer compete in life. You have to know how to be better than other people, not through your own sheer efforts, but you have to know how to be better through things like technology, like information gathering, like doing things that other people are no longer doing. And as a matter of fact, a lot of times I'll even tell people, whereas 20 years ago, right? 20 years ago, I may have taught and told people or been taught that, Pete, you just got to do it. You just got to do it. There was a very famous slogan by a company called Nike, right? Just do it. Now I spend most of my days aligning myself with other people, organizations, technologies. I've gotten out of the business of trying to do it myself. I've gotten out of that business a long time ago. Number one, I wasn't good at it myself. But number two, I realized I can no longer compete. I can no longer compete in the world of doing it yourself. I had to figure out how to create advantages for myself. I had to figure out how to level up my knowledge base, my skills, not through my own efforts, but through the efforts of others, through the efforts of technology, through the efforts of gathering information. So number one, and this is one thing that we pride ourselves on, the ability to learn and to understand. Like in real estate, this is why I tell people, this is why having an advantage on the knowledge base is also very important. Before, I will tell you this, we competed on the real estate field in terms of techniques and strategies that were all very similar, right? They were all very similar. Like how I did my first, a couple hundred deals were exactly the same way. The way I did my first was the way I did my 50th, was the way I did my 100th, was the way I did my 200th. There was almost no variety in how I did it, right? Again, we're talking about knowledge perspective and how do you level up? Well, I'm still doing the same techniques. I'm still doing the very similar strategies I did. But from a knowledge perspective, I gained an advantage. Because what I did is I put a twist on these techniques and strategies. Okay. And see, when I put that twist on these techniques and strategies, it immediately created a brand new playing field for me. When I would do, like, for instance, on our wholesale technique and strategy, right? And for those of you that are in this real estate business, you understand what the wholesale world's all about, right? Finding a good deal, putting it under contract, finding a back-end buyer, maybe an investor, flipping the contract over to them, and then splitting the profits, right? Well, for years, that's what I did because that's what everybody else did. But again, tonight I'm talking about for you all to figure out, how do you gain those competitive advantages? How do you gain, how do you one up your competition? So a number of years ago, we started thinking, now remember, knowledge, how do you level up on knowledge? We started thinking, how do we do more wholesale deals? How do we make more on them? How do we do them quicker and things like that? Well, we realized on the wholesale side, and if you know anything about wholesaling, there are two things that'll limit you. One is your ability to find deals. Two is your ability to move deals, right? When you think about it, it's kind of real estate all the way across, but it's extremely, especially important on the wholesale side, finding them and moving them. Well, finding them, we got extremely good at, like extremely good. Like extremely good. We learned some techniques and strategies other people weren't doing, but we were constantly hitting our head against the wall on this back end side. How do we sell them quicker? How do we make more money on our thing? On the wholesale side, you're always limited by the size of the list. Like if you've ever done a wholesale deal, it's usually done to another investor that comes off your investor list. You identify the right buyer, you move it to them and all this. But for years, I was trying to figure out how to get my list bigger. And so the way I started getting my list bigger initially is I would start hiring sales reps. And these sales reps, we'd teach them how to develop their own lists. We'd give them the property. They'd go to their list. They'd sell them and all this. But again, there were some limitations with the sizes of their list, how many sales reps we had and all this. And then one day it hit me. What is actually the biggest list out there in the world? Well, the biggest list out in the world is called the MLS, because when you have a piece of property and you stick it on MLS, there is no better investor database. There is no better list. There's no better anything out there than the MLS system. The whole world has access to MLS. But then we came into a challenge. On the wholesale side, you cannot pre-market something you don't own. Why is that? I have no idea. It's a misnomer. If you think about it, builders do it all the time, right? I mean, if you flip this camera around, you will see I live in an area where they're building, like literally I could see them building not far away from where I'm sitting right now. And guess what? All of it is sold. How can they pre-sell something that's not there? So the big guys already know that you could have what are known as pre-sales, right? The little investor thought that, no, you cannot do pre-sale. You cannot pre-sell something. Well, I knew that that was not the right way of looking at it. And I also wanted a competitive advantage from a knowledge perspective. And I also wanted to make more in our wholesale deals. And I also wanted to have access to the biggest investor database, which is MLS. When I put the three together, I realized, how do we do all this? I realized, well, the key to this whole thing, since we're putting an MLS, let's go to the people that control the MLS, the realtors. So years ago, I got a hold of the board of realtors, paid them quite a bit of money. And I said, look, here's the challenge we're in. Here's what I want to accomplish. I, as an investor, want to do exactly what the builders do. I want to be able to pre-sell, pre-list, pre-market, do stuff like that. And the board of realtors literally put together a whole paragraph of verbiage for us that said, if you put this verbiage into your contracts, then there'd be no problem pre-listing and pre-selling your deals. And boom, right there. That competitive advantage, again, from a knowledge perspective, I thought things through, we figured things out, and we leveled up on the knowledge perspective. And ever since we've put that clause into our contracts, do you know I used to have multiple salespeople in my office? Like if you would walk into our offices back then, we would have multiple offices filled by salespeople. We don't no longer have these salespeople. We haven't had them in years. As a matter of fact, once we developed that clause, one by one by one, the salespeople started to drop off. We never fired a single one of them. Why did they start dropping off? Because they couldn't compete with their finite investor list. They couldn't compete with the infinite list, buyer's list that happens at the MLS level. An advantage. I studied the market. I understood what we're doing. I had to get a little bit smarter than an average person, and it gave us an advantage. Let's talk about technology. I've been arguing this for a while, but if you're listening to me tonight or in a recorded format and you're not technology savvy, or you don't think technology is necessary, or you're just like, you know what, this is real estate. This is not technology. When I got started in the Stone Ages in real estate, technology wasn't even thought about. Like literally, we didn't even think about technology. About a decade, maybe longer than a decade after I was in this business, technology became one of those kind of, wow, that is pretty cool thing, right? Because technology started coming out, and I started looking at some of it. My investor friends started looking at some of it. And again, our perspective back then was very simple. This is cool. This is cool. Do we need it? No. But then what started happening over a period of time, like other people started getting it. And what happened, it went from a not needing stage to a cool stage to like any longer after a number of years, you had to have it kind of stage. Well, we've now taken it to the next level. Technology is no longer like you have to have it. Technology is like if you don't have it, you're at a huge competitive disadvantage. You're a huge competitive disadvantage. Now, again, we're talking about leveling up today, right? We're talking about the ability. We're talking about the ability to take things to the next level. We're talking about how do you game the system, right? So now there is actually a lot of technology out there, but we needed to level this thing up. We needed to go to the next level. We needed to make this thing happen. And we started looking around at the different things. Well, I'm being told my brand new system, the camera is no longer available. Hopefully you can still hear me. Okay, I'm going to text my team back. Hopefully you can still hear me. And okay, good. It says voice is good. All right, so now you get the benefit of at least listening to me, okay? So we started investigating all this technology out there, and we started realizing there are some limitations to some technologies that was out there. And really, I'll be honest with you, the biggest limitation with the technology that was existing out there, kind of that shelf, through the shelf technology, is that it was limiting. Like a lot of it was just focused on certain aspects of it, right? Like some was focused on data, some was focused on providing, let's say, contracts technology wise. Some of the technology was focused on geography. Some technology was focused on, okay, we do marketing here. And so we start realizing technology is a must have. We then start realizing, yes, that not only is it a must have, you're going to be at a competitive disadvantage if you don't have it, right? So then we started realizing, well, there's limitations with technology. But tonight is all about leveling up, right? So here's what we did. We said, okay, why don't we ourselves put together and design what we feel like is the ultimate app, the ultimate piece of software for an investor. We don't need to put things that are not needed, but we definitely want to put things that are needed. Access to the right data, access to the right list, access to the right information, access to the most current information, the ability to not only access information, but also get information out, like get marketing pieces out and direct mail pieces out. And why don't we get an app that has the ability to work both in home and out in the streets? Because we start realizing some of this technology works great on a laptop, but you take this stuff out there into the real world and all of a sudden it starts shutting down. It starts not working very well. So then we literally said, okay, let's get the best programmers we know. Let's pay them whatever it takes. And let's put together the best technology that's out there. So that's how we were able to level up from a technological perspective. So I'm telling you all this to say, I don't think any longer, whatever you decide to do, and hopefully it's real estate investing, no longer can you just outwork your competition. Yes, you have to. This is not me saying you don't have to work hard. Okay, that's not what I'm saying here. This is not me saying you don't have to pay the ultimate price of success. That's not what I'm saying. Okay, I still work very hard. But what I'm saying now is that the reason some people don't get further on in life, the reason some people don't achieve the success that they want to achieve, that maybe they even deserve to achieve, is because they simply don't understand that in order to compete, in order to win, you have to have advantages. Now, the concept of having an advantage is not a new concept to most people, right? You hear it all the time. I learned it in school, do something, unique, do something better, be stronger, be wiser, be smarter, and all this. But I could tell you now it's a must have. It's a must have. And so my challenge to you tonight is very simple. As you're building this real estate business, as you're maybe pursuing other dreams and goals, as you're doing other things, figure out a way to level up from a perspective of an advantage. Find something that's going to give you an advantage. Find something in your marketplace that no one else is doing. Find some way that, even if it's the same thing that everyone else do, package it different, deliver it different, say it differently, execute it in a way that no one else is executing. See, sometimes people think to have an advantage, you have to do something that no one else is doing. No, you could be doing it's like you could be doing marketing the exact same everyone else is doing marketing, but you could deliver it in a different way, right? You could be approaching sellers the way everyone else is. We're all approaching sellers. Who's out there in the real estate business not approaching sellers? But have you ever thought of maybe a unique way of approaching sellers? Right? Like I realized many years ago when I didn't have money for marketing, I realized many years ago that like I used to do a lot of door knocking, and I realized like, man, that's a hard way to build this business. But again, okay, I was trying to level up. I was trying to do, back then I wasn't even sure what I was doing, but somehow I kind of figured it out. I realized the money in door knocking is not in the door knocking. I know that sounds weird. I know that sounds like, what is he talking about? But I realized many years ago that the money in door knocking, deals from door knocking, don't come from door knocking. Because what happened, I swerved into this line, and here's what the line was. I do my initial approach, a cold approach to a seller. Of course, 99 of them out of 100 like rolling their eyes up. They have no idea why you're calling them or talking to them or contacting them. They have no interest in selling. But I somehow got into a habit of following up that approach with a line that said this: "Oh, I understand. Do you happen to know anyone else that may be interested in selling?" And believe it or not, as I look back at my real estate career, I could argue the point that it was a 20 or more to 1 ratio. For every 1 deal I found cold calling, I found 20 deals by just simply saying, "Do you know anyone else that might be interested in selling?" See, where's the uniqueness in that? The uniqueness in that is that no one's doing. A ton of people are door knocking, a ton of people are cold calling, a ton of people are approaching sellers, but almost everybody thinks a referral happens on the back end, right? That's why, because we're taught that you earn a referral, you earn the ability to do that. But that's not a reality. You can ask for a referral right up front. And so all the people that told me no, the logic says those are not the people that are going to give you a referral. I built this business off people that told me no by saying something no one is asking them. Hey, who else do you know? Now think about this. Think about this concept of leveling up. If you ask 5 or 10 random people, do you know anyone else interested in selling their property? Yes, at least 1, 2, or 3. We all know people interested in selling, right? Co-workers, husbands talk to their buddies, wives talk to their buddies. You hear in passing that somebody wants to sell, right? So again, find something that distinguishes you. Today, my challenge is very simple. Level up from a perspective of being unique, of being unusual, of doing something that no one else is doing. You could do the exact same concept, but doing it in a different way. Do it in a different way. Do it in a more powerful way. And you will see that that in of itself will take you to a lot higher levels than you're just part of the weeds, part of the crowd, part of doing everything that everyone else does. So guys, that's all I have for you today. I know we had some challenges. I guess from what I understand, I'm not even being seen anymore. My new technology. See, I was trying to level up, and hey, by the way, when you're leveling up and being unique, like I was trying to, trying out new equipment today, be prepared for some time it not to work, for some time for it to crash. And that's okay. That's okay, because we're going to just relaunch this thing tomorrow and get it fixed, and it's going to be just fine. So level up. Do something no one's doing. And if you're doing it, the concept the same, learn a different way of doing it. So guys, again, my name is Peter Vexman with Partner Driven Investing. I do deals with people all across the United States. If tonight you're like, yes, I like to do some real estate deals, I'm ready. I've been talking to somebody on the team, and there's a phone number that's coming up in chat today, right now. You can call that phone number, and there'll be a team member on standby, and they can get you rocking and rolling. We even have a third-party company that'll give you the money to join the partner-driven. So on behalf of myself, Peter Vexelman, and most importantly, the team that comes with me, I enjoyed it. I learned something. Sometimes I actually learn myself when I go through a lot of this stuff. So I will be back here, same time, same place next week. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.